for the Red Wings. Dominik Hasek, day off yesterday, 38 wins, a personal best, the league leader in victories by 8. Jocelyn Thibault is second with 30. And there's Mike Richter, and I really believe the Rangers have no intention of moving him, although his name's been brought up in plenty of trade rumors with Tuesday's deadline approaching. His 53rd game, 2 games under 500. He's had 4 consecutive losing seasons prior to this one, and 4-11 lifetime versus Detroit, so the Red Wings have had his number. There's Mick McGough, number 19, who will work along with Paul Dvorsky, who worked yesterday in Boston. Tim Nowak, John Moran on the lines. The Red Wings reunite grind line members Kirk Maltby, Darren McCarty back in, the sore finger, and Chris Draper, while the Rangers counter with Roman Lyashenko, Matthew Barnaby, and Sandy McCarthy.
Sandy McCarthy, he's been their best player of late. He's had a point in 4 of the last 5 games, 3 goals and 1 assist. Usually he'll get a fight in each game, but unusual for him to get a point in each game.
Barnaby's been scoring, and Kluchek, and as you mentioned off the top, they need offense from their big guns, and they haven't gotten it. Rangers have it at center. There's Barnaby, who missed an open net yesterday, was upset with himself in the loss in New Jersey, so both these teams coming off losses yesterday. Red Wings fell by 1 in Boston. Darren McCarty shooting it back in. Draper, who got the goal, moved up on the forecheck. Devereaux comes over the boards for the Red Wings. Detroit with it at center. Passed across and shot into the zone by Jesse Wallen. Red Wings moving in after it. Back to Wallen at the point. Wallen tried to settle it down, hounded there by Fleury, who's out with Lindros and Mike York. Hauled behind the goal, a thrown off Richter as he went for Devereaux and nearly found its way into the goal all by its lonesome.
Almost a little carom there, sneaky goal again. We already saw Theoren Fleury at the blue line roughing it up a little bit with the Red Wing players, but Brett Hull gets in there in the forecheck. He's been doing that a lot lately. Just throws it out front and almost off the back of Mike Richter's legs and in the net, but Smart covered up. Theoren Fleury, we all remember the last game against Detroit at home. He was in the middle of everything, and Jesse Wallen, a lot bigger guy, but Theo likes to nibble at the knees.
Datsuk with Devereaux and Hull, and they had their chances yesterday. Boy, Brett's been passing more lately than shooting. And Datsuk had some opportunities. Cleared by Andreas Johansson, who missed the last game with the flu bug. Johansson back in. The Rangers have been ravaged by the flu bug of late. Johansson hasn't been alone in that regard. Mike York's been bothered by the flu, along with Michael Grosek. A big loss for the Rangers is Radek Dvorak. He's going to have 6 months of recovery out with a knee injury, and that's a huge loss for New York in their drive to make the playoffs.
I always hope those guys that are the skill players too, and they get that knee injury, when they're such a good skater, that takes a year or 2 before they get back to their full strength again.
Saw that happen with Pavel Bure earlier in his career. It took him a good year at an off season. Red Wings to center. Lidstrom dropped it off. Knifed into the right wing corner. Shanahan out there along with Fedorov and Draper. Sylvain Lefebvre, number 24, moved it ahead as the Rangers come to center. There's Brendan Shanahan to intercept. Knocked away, and the Rangers bring it in. Fleury on the right wing, fakes on Fisher. Shot off the side of Dominik Hasek. Fleury on the left wing boards. His shot off the side of the goal. Hasek got a piece. Fleury with it again. Another shot. 2 goals his past 16 games for Theo Fleury, who leads the team in scoring. His 2 line mates are tied for second. Here's Fleury. Out with Mike York and Lindros. Point shot knocked down. Lindros just missed on a turnaround try and brought out. Gary Fisher carries to center. His feed for Shanahan up with Draper. Fisher with him. Drop back Fedorov. His shot stopped by Richter. Rebound cleared. Not out toward the goal. Draper's shot is blocked. Mike York with it. He'll send one ahead of the big man Eric Lindros in for Theo Fleury and called offside at the Red Wing blue line.
Well, we're going to take a look at our Pepsi game plan here. Detroit, they've got to pay the price. It gets a little nastier this time of year. We got to get in front of that net. Our Detroit guys, they got to pay a price to score the goals. They got to get it out of their end quick. You know New York's going to come at them hard. New York's special teams have been terrible all year. They need to be good for them to be effective, and they need their big guns. We talked about it, 7 goals their last 9 games. The big guy sitting on the bench there has got to score for them if they're going to stay in this game.
27 goals in 59 games for Lindros, 56 points, 3 behind Theoren Fleury. Missed a few with the injury, the foot problem. He's had some knee problems. And so far, just really the one head injury for a little bit this season, but wasn't drastic. And that was the big word.
I think they'd rather see him out with a bruised foot than they would with a bruised head.
That's for sure. Put out in front, Max Kuznetsov, who played a very steady game yesterday in Boston, and Darren McCarty finally returning to the Red Wing lineup after missing games against Pittsburgh, Toronto, St. Louis, Buffalo, Edmonton, and yesterday. Right to the goal, and stopped by Nedved. Big Max Kuznetsov moved in, and Peter Nedved scooped it out of the blue crease. Before it could go across the line, McCarty's shot handled there by Richter as the Red Wings came close.
Well, Nedved hasn't scored any at the other end of the ice, but right there he saved one. I think you maybe should give him one on that one because that thing was in the net. Big Max Kuznetsov steps in from the point, kind of sneaks up on everybody, caught in Darren McCarty's feet here, and that was in the net if Nedved doesn't get a stick on it. Take a look on the overhead here, and it was going to catch that far side of the net if he didn't get his stick on that.
We thought that perhaps Mike Richter would be better than he's been since the Olympics, but he hasn't. And Nedved, as you mentioned, just 2 goals his past 28 games. Sign of the problems that the Rangers are having. Here's a huge hit by Sean Avery. Or did Avery let Rico Fata have it? He went flying in, similar to the hit that Avery put on Ty Domi in the Leaf game a few weeks back. Cleared by Holmstrom back into Ranger territory where the native of Corpus Christi, Texas, Brian Leetch is back. Gets the return feed. Leetch, the all-time Ranger defense leader in points, moved it ahead to center. Wallen had stepped up. Puck goes into the Red Wing zone.
Sean Avery sure gave the Red Wings a new dimension since he's became a regular in the lineup. He's a little grit, gets teams off their game, and he's actually drawn a lot of penalties for the Red Wings.
Igor Larionov scratched this afternoon along with Matthew Dandino and Steve Duchesne. Sandy McCarthy barreling in after it. As Sean mentioned, he's been hot of late. Game winner, game tying goal for the New York Rangers. Pavel Datsyuk. And just stepping out of a way a hit was Boyd Devereaux. Passed across in his own zone from Vladimir Malakhov. Carries to center. Lead pass. Barnaby couldn't catch up to that puck. Knifed away and sent back into Detroit territory. Having to hustle back was Olesen out there along with Kuznetsov around for Devereaux. He'll tip it off the boards and back to center. Sylvain Lefebvre moved it ahead. Sandy McCarthy over there. And the Red Wings take over. Max Kuznetsov with his head up, a lead pass. Back it goes for Olesen in his own line. To Kuznetsov. Kuznetsov getting around Lindros and shooting it in. Richter back there to tee it up.
This is a good test for the Red Wings, playing some of these teams that are desperate to make the playoffs. Boston was trying to be in first place the other day because everybody kind of knows the Red Wings are going to make it. They're in a little cushy spot there on top, and they've got to bring their game up to get into playoff mode, and they're going to get a taste of it here in the last 15 games.
Chris Draper tipped it, was okay onside at center ice, but then it went up into the crowd and out of play. Scotty Bowman just 7 wins shy of tying Jack Adams for most wins by a Detroit coach at 413.
Scotty's one of these guys. He doesn't like that position way up top. He's got to. I wouldn't be surprised to see some lines change and some guys in and out of the lineup that maybe haven't been out of the lineup. Whether it's just to get them going and get them sharp for playoffs, but he's always going to tinker a little bit.
Well, he did today. Freddie Olesen back in, Matthew Dandino out, Darren McCarty coming back in after missing the half dozen or so. And Igor Larionov sits today. And Steve Yzerman, as you probably know, will go for a second opinion in Birmingham, Alabama from Dr. William Clancy tomorrow on his knee, but doesn't believe it to be serious. The MRI was negative, which is good news. Just a minor setback. Red Wings are hoping that'll be about it.
I think maybe, if anything, Stevie's the type of guy that just can't sit idle, and he's probably just tried to get going a little quicker than he should have. And every once in a while, it's a good idea maybe to pay attention to doctors and just slow things down.
Playoffs are still a month away, so still plenty of time before gets down to the nitty-gritty. Lead pass. Richter. He'll come out and fire it around. Moving up on it. Chelios sent it in around the other side. Fedorov to the goal. Richter stopped it. Big rebound just out of the reach of Brendan Shanahan. Theo Fleury gave it up in the middle. Scores! Chelios! It'll be an unassisted goal, and it's 1-0. As Theo Fleury will look for a place to hide.
Chris Chelios lashed out at his teammate talked about their defense last week, and he's providing a little bit of offense. And they always say the best defense is a good offense, and that was a heck of a shot.
And remember last game at Joe Louis Arena, how Chelios and Fleury were going at it all night long? Well, here, look at this one this afternoon. Actually, Fedorov will get an assist.
Yeah, certainly knocked it down with his forearms there, but maybe that's what they were talking about. He was probably asking him next game, maybe you could set me up in the slot with one. And right there, Chris Chelios made no mistake. He probably saw Richter in the Olympic team, maybe scored a few in practice on him there.
So Chris Chelios gets the goal. Sergei Fedorov will pick up an assist. And Fleury with the mistake on the attempted clear. Lidstrom's shot went off a leg, and it's up and out of play. So Chris Chelios, who's been pretty hot of late, gets the Red Wings on the board 1-0. Welcome back to Madison Square Garden, where the Red Wings lead the Rangers 1-0 thanks to that man Chris Chelios, who took a drop from Sergei Fedorov. He took an errant pass from Theo Fleury. 6:43, the time of the goal. Hardy, he went flying into the boards, out with Jason Williams and Luc Robitaille. Brian Leetch brings it in, drops it back. Nedved the shot, and Hasek stopped it, rebound. And perhaps Hasek got a piece that was just going wide. Nedved on it again. The shot, scores! The man in the huge slump has evened this game.
Well, he scored one now and he saved one for them, so he's at the +2 night for him already. I'm not sure who it was from the Rangers. Tried to take it away from him just before it crossed the line here, but I think the puck already got across before anyone got a stick on it. We can get a look at this again. Jesse Wallen's in a tough spot here. He's got a guy in front of the net, and he can't really commit to Nedved coming out, and Peter Nedved left to come around the net there, and he's a pretty dangerous guy, even though he hasn't scored lately, to let him take a shot like that.
That's his first goal in 12 games. He's gone 11 without one until this afternoon, and just his third is past 29. So he's tied up this game 1-1. There's a shot. Hasek will handle that and hang on. Barnaby in the middle of things, as you'd expect, so Peter Nedved has tied it up.
Wouldn't be surprised to see Barnaby and Avery go at it before this game's over. They're both agitators, and right here, we can take a look at the production of these guys goal-wise in the last 15 to 20 games. And ever since he got voted to the All-Star game, Michigan State player Mr. York hasn't scored too many goals for him. Hopefully, he, for their sake, he might score one tonight. He's not paying too much attention to the game that comes after this one.
Fleury, Lindros, York, the fly line, along with Peter Nedved. They're relying on these guys for the offense, and what with Dvorak out. Nedved out there along with Michael Grosek. Well, a good friend of Dominic Hasek is Michael Grosek, and they used to play together with the Buffalo Sabres. Holmstrom, there's a shot. Richter stopped it. Rebound off to the corner. Maltby, Avery, and Holmstrom. So this line will disturb with the best of them. Given up again. There's Maltby. Cross to Olesen. Shot is blocked. In behind the net. And cleared to center. Maltby hooking his man. Fans wanted a call here. Left wing side. Berard with it again. Comes back to the line. The shot by Lefebvre missed the net. Brian Berard getting over there. And what a comeback story he's been this year, Brian Berard. Certainly a heavy favorite for the Bill Masterton Trophy.
No one expected him to come back and play, and even though he came back and played, no one expected him to play as well as he has if he did come back.
Olesen sets up behind Hasek. Hall circling and takes the feed. Hall goes rink wide to Pavel Datsyuk, on to Boyd Devereaux, bouncing puck for him. Devereaux couldn't contain it. And it rolls down the ice. Chris Chelios back to get it. Up on the forecheck is Andreas Johansson. Max Kuznetsov switches sides. Takes the feed from Chelios. Moves it ahead to Datsyuk. He'll send it into the right wing corner. Back behind the goal is Richter. Shot one. Datsuk partially knocked it down. Hall beaten to the puck. Chelios held it in wide of the goal. Over there to get it. Sylvain Lefebvre. Pavel Datsuk comes back to the line. Across now to Chelios. His shot. Pinballed off the leg. Backhand shot tried by Devereaux was blocked. Datsuk. Devereaux. Devereaux hook trying to get to that puck, and the Rangers will clear it. And it'll bounce all the way down and have enough steam to get over for icing as the faceoff will come back in the New York zone. 2 seconds shy of the halfway point here, first period. Well, who's your pick for the McDonald's Player of the Game this afternoon? If your guess is the first to match ours, you win $25 in McDonald's gift certificates, great Fox Sportsnet apparel, and you are entered into a drawing for 2 Red Wing playoff tickets. There's the number to call for our McDonald's Player of the Game.
Seen a couple shifts now. Big Matt Skanetsov has jumped up in the play, and a lot of people talk about playing in the minors as being a little bit of a detriment, but he's definitely been a player that's really improved and seemed to play with a lot more confidence since he came back.
In behind for Brendan Shanahan, tapped it side of the goal. Fedorov couldn't pick it up. Left back and turning there for David Karpa, 33. Shanahan moved up again. The Rangers have trouble getting it out of their own zone. That's 3 or 4 times this afternoon already.
There's a reason that they've given up the second most amount of goals in the NHL. Other than Atlanta, they've given up 214 goals this year, which is second worst in the league, and they're not very good in their own end.
Leach took Draper out of the play. 3 Rangers come up. Fedorov got the hook on. Came across and too far. Wallen in behind the net. Fedorov in there to help. Into the middle. McCarthy. Barnaby scores! Lyashenko all over that one, along with Barnaby and McCarthy, and they've done the Rangers scoring of late, and they do it again here this afternoon.
Kind of a funny bouncer. I don't know how it squeaked through Dominic Hasek, but right here, the wings, the Rangers get cycling a little bit in their own end here, and Dom didn't really see it. We see it kind of rolled up his stomach over his neck over his shoulder, and I think Jesse Wallen had him screened a little bit here, and he didn't really pick it up, so it was almost past him a little bit.
Roman Lyashenko, the former member of the Dallas Stars, his first goal as a New York Ranger and first this season, came over with Martin Ruchinski for Manny Malhotra and Barrett Heiston, the college player. So he gets the goal as the Rangers have erased a 1-0 deficit and turned it into a 2-1 lead, and there's Theo Fleury at center. Lindros catching up, goes barreling in, right wing side, 2 big men in there along with Yuri Fischer. Dvorsky trying to get out of the way as Fischer and Lindros came at him. Fleury takes over. There's a shot that hit Chelios. Leach held it in. Lindros tried to feed it back in McCarty. The Robitaille. Red Wings bringing it in. Fischer dropped it back. He was in deep, and that's a giveaway as Lindros brings it back the other way. Lindros sends one back to his own line. So Lyashenko gets the goal.
So far, we've seen the Wings twice when the Rangers have been cycling down low in their end. They've got into a little bit of trouble, and giving them too much room, they're going to have to tighten it up. They definitely can't give them that many good chances.
Luchek having all kinds of problems back there. Avery with some room. There's a shot, sharp angle, and Richter got a piece. Avery really hustling back there. Maltby out front. There's Avery trying to get to it. Good job. Got it back into Holmstrom. Holmstrom behind the net. Out front for Avery off his skate as he was tied up. And a penalty coming up here. Big collision. And the penalty will be flashing against the Red Wings. So it's 2-1 Rangers and a New York power play coming up. Kirk Maltby in the box for slashing as the Rangers go to a power play.
It was a little bit of a phantom slash there. He was getting held up, and he just turned around to try to get his stick free, and I don't think he actually slashed him with it, but they give him the penalty anyway.
So Red Wing penalty killing, 6th in the league, and second best on the road, 2 for 2 yesterday in Boston. New York Ranger power play 20th. It's 15.2% as you see. Fired in by Fleury. Lindros couldn't come up with it. Lidstrom shoots it around. Fleury at the point across to Leach. As Datsuk and Haller up front for the Red Wings. Sandy McCarthy and getting more and more power play time. He's been so good of late. McCarthy very strong in front of the goal. Fleury tried to go back down low for Mike York. Didn't work.
You definitely mentioned it. This is one of the areas that's helped the Rangers, or that hasn't helped the Rangers, is their power play and penalty kill. Both of them near bottom in the league.
Penalty killing is. The penalty killing is 30th and 30th at home, but right now they have the man advantage. Leach put it in around Eric Lindros. Back to the line to Leach. Over to Lindros. Firing one. That went off the leg. Rangers have it near side. Lindros helps it back to Leach again. Intercepted by Datsuk in the way, gives it to Fedorov. Fedorov left wing side to Datsuk, to Fedorov! And a tough pass to handle for Sergei Fedorov as Datsuk made a good attempt to get it across. It wasn't in an easy spot to take it.
Pavel's one of those guys that later in his career he's going to have to learn to shoot it a little bit more because he always wants to make that nice pass.
Yuri Fisher with a good play to knock it down before Martin Ruchinski, number 19, could get in after it. Richter played it away from Brendan Shanahan. Here's Olesen stealing. Olesen goes across Shanahan's way toward the net. Pinball off a few legs in there, and Ruchinski knocked it out of the air. Ruchinski had his pocket picked by Draper. Trailing in behind comes Malakoff. And the shot. Owen just missed. Maltby comes out of the box, so the Red Wings have killed off that New York Ranger power play as they go 0 for 1. Nedved tipped into the zone by Grosjean. Turning in his own zone. Olesen moved it ahead to Williams, on to Robitaille. Robitaille across the line, and the shot just missed. Luc Robitaille searching for his 12th 30-goal season. He's got 29. Jason Williams. Robitaille in to help. Carpet trying to dig it free. Nedved staying with Robitaille behind the goal. Robitaille, side of the goal, stopped by Richter. Rangers will move it back into Red Wing territory as McCarty laid on the body. Kuznetsov back to touch, icing against the Rangers, who have a 2-1 lead with 4:50 to go here. First period from MSG. Well, there's the architect of the Rangers, Glenn Sather, along with Mark Messier. They had some glory days together back in Edmonton, and hoping for the same here. Messier out for the season with shoulder surgery. And ironically, the two oldest players in the game, Mark Messier and Igor Larionov, are both out of this game. With two 41-year-olds opposing each other today. Sent back by Avery to Maltby off the side of the goal.
Glenn Sather with a little more gray hair, and Mark Messier with not quite as much hair there.
Yeah. Avery going in looking for that loose puck. He gets it. Maltby in behind. Never got through. Puck is loose. Maltby all alone. Puck still loose. So he tried to jam it through and couldn't do it. And we've got a penalty coming up here. Holmstrom interfered with at the side of the goal, and Maltby, though, valiant effort.
Sometimes when you, as a player, when you get in, you get too close to the goalie. You can't get it up over his pads there. And Mike Richter held his ground there. He knew that Maltby was so close to him. He couldn't really do much there. But again, another oops in front of the net by a Ranger player. Mike Richter gets, I think, too many chances like that in the game, and everybody points a finger at him. But most teams don't give up those good chances.
Thomas Kluchek goes into the box for interfering with Thomas Holmstrom.
Couple Toms.
He missed 6 months. Last May he had knee surgery, ACL surgery to his left knee, and Kluchek's a heavy hitter back there on that Ranger blue line, and now it's a Red Wing Bell Tire power play goes to work. Datsuk gives it to Olesen. In for Pavel Datsuk. Ranger penalty killing 30th in the National Hockey League and worst at home too. There's Hull, a shot tip. And up into the crowd and out of play. Red Wing power play first in the league.
There's not too many times that Luc Robitaille doesn't get his stick on a shot when it comes through there, and they're tipped over.
The new book, History of Hockeytown, 374-page collectible, tracing the roots of the Red Wings' first 75 years. History of Hockeytown, a must-read. Order today, and I'll get Mickey Redmond to sign it for you. Reserve your copy right now at 313-396 75775 operators are standing by for the history of Hockeytown, including never-before-seen photos. Rangers short-handed. Into the middle, taken back by Andreas Johansson all the way into his own zone. Rangers keep control. Up ahead for Lefebvre. As the Rangers change on the fly. Lidstrom moving it in. Off the skate of Shanahan. Hall couldn't catch up to the puck. Freddie Olesen. Robitaille jumping up to get out of the way. Shanahan kicked at it. Draper over to help, and again, the Rangers will clear. Less than a minute to go in this Bell Tire power play.
The Wings got to get their power play back on track. Right there, we saw Brendan Shanahan over all by himself there. No puck support, and when you're on the power play, you got to have one more guy than the other two, not one less.
Draper turning ahead for Sergei Fedorov, who had an assist yesterday, 500th in his career. In for Shanahan. And the shot was knocked down, and Fedorov with an assist this afternoon, so he's got 501 now. Long shot in on Hasek. Sergei with a point yesterday for one of the rare times, just the third time this year, the Red Wings came up on the short end when Sergei gets a point. Here's Fedorov bringing it in to Draper. Cross! Oh, what a stop by Richter on Shanahan, looking for 500. Whoa, what a save that one was. On a nice feed from Draper. Here come the Rangers. Time winding down. Their penalty is now over as the Rangers are back at full strength. Down low, Michael Samuelsson behind the net. Good job by Shanahan to stay with him.
They talk about Richter having some bad knees. His groins didn't look bad there when he stretched off in the splits to make that save.
There was a huge stop down to get it Maltby. Technicated in the icing, but he took a heavy hit back there from Malakoff. Lefebvre. Knocked down at the line. Rangers had to hurry on the change so as not to get caught with too many men. Sylvain Lefebvre, who spent a little bit of time down in the minors earlier this season, said it did him some good to get his game back together. And at the other end, who would be in the middle of things but Matthew Barnaby? And while they split up there, a reminder, an automatic berth to the NCAA Ice Hockey Tournament is at stake as the CCHA concludes its championship event with Michigan meeting Michigan State. See it starting at 6 right here on Fox Sports Net as they got down to the Super 6 at the Joe and now down to 2, Michigan State. Doubleheader hockey for you today on Fox Sports Net.
There's Brendan shaking his head a little bit there. He's been helping out in the assist column, but the puck just not going to the net for him. He's getting lots of chances. Right here, a great three-way passing play between Sergei and Chris Draper with kind of a half slapper. Brendan Shanahan got all of that thing. We just saw some Mike Richter at his best right there.
And you know what's neat about that? Great stop by Richter, and that is just how Shanahan set up Draper for his goal yesterday in Boston. Same play, bang, bang. Draper scored the goal and then tried to return the favor.
We've seen that a couple times. A couple games ago, Shanahan with a couple one-timers, and Chris Chelios scoring in overtime with Brendan Shanahan's shot from over there.
Right. His arms were getting tired. Brendan's in that one. And Chelios finished. Here comes Wallen turning away with good speed. Rangers move up to pressure. Red Wings turn it over. Putting it back in behind was Williams. Hasek getting out of the way from Lindros. Lindros kicking at it. Put it out to Fleury. Hasek knocked it down right through the crease. Puck goes! Jamming Mike York! Oh, and it's underneath Dominic Hasek. Whoa, York, that's the way things have gone for him the last 16 games. Had a great opportunity and just couldn't finish it.
I'll tell you, we didn't have much snow in Michigan this winter, but Dom was practicing the snow angel somewhere. There he was flopping around. I don't know how he kept that thing out of the net. He didn't have a good look at it, but his arm out in the X position there.
Credit Jesse Wallen staying with York just to get enough of them too. Oh, he hit the post.
Doesn't matter how good a goalie is, that post is still your best friend.
Got one stick on it and then couldn't get the rebound. Wallen stayed with them enough, and the snow angel from Dom, and it remains 2-1. Shot from the point just missed. Leach moving in across. Hasek fell by that hard shot. That caught him up high. As Hasek being attended to now by trainer John Wharton.
We all saw how fast John Wharton ran on the ice there. That kind of brings back bad memories of Chris Pronger in Detroit. That's, I think, why the trainer came out John Wharton came out so fast there.
Martin Ruchinsky lets the shot go. Right there.
Everybody thinks the trainers just sit on the bench and stare into space, but that's why it's important for the trainer to watch the game, because when he gets on that ice, he has to know exactly what's happened to the player, and it helps if he saw it happen.
So Dominik Hasek looks to shake that one off. Manny Legacy, one goal from yesterday he'd like to have back, but boy, he made at least 6 stops in Boston, which were unbelievable.
Yeah, that was one of the things Chris Chelios said, that they're just having to make too many great saves, the goaltenders. And right there, I don't know, Manny played yesterday. He hasn't played too many back-to-back games. I don't think he wants to see Dom down there hurt too bad.
He even started since prior to the Olympic break. Manny last one end of January. Still a superb record with the Red Wings. Manny's been in 16 games, starting 14. Datsuk got it ahead, so Hasek appears to be okay. At least he'll get a rest in a half minute. To check further on that shot he took. Richter shooting one around past Hull. Over there is Lindros. Banked it off the leg of Devereaux. Got it back, and that was way high for Theo Fleury. Even when he jumps, it's a little bit tougher for Theo. Move back to center and into the Red Wing zone. Lidstrom across for Chelios. Under 10 to go here in the first period, as Ranger fans who haven't had a lot to cheer about this season are happy with the way this first period has gone. After being down 1-0, the Rangers come back with a couple and beat Hasek twice, and they lead by 1 after 20 minutes of play. We'll be in conversation with the Rangers' Mike York, former Michigan State Spartan, and you know tonight after our game he'll have the satellite dish up and running to keep an eye on his former Spartans and Wolverines in action here on Fox Sports Net. So it's 2-1 Chelios scoring for the Red Wings. Nedved Lyashenko for New York. After one period of play by Mike York, number 16 of the New York Rangers, a former Michigan State Spartan. We'll get to that in just a moment. But first off, this season, Mike, and coming down to the stretch for your club, every game is so important. How do you feel?
It is. It's really, every game is big for us. We got, 13 games, I think, left right now, and we're 1 point out of it. So, we have to go out and play hard every night and play like it's our last game.
Ron Mason probably taught you all about expectations, but coming to New York, were there expectations that now upon you guys that you even couldn't believe?
I think, we put expectations on ourselves to make it to the playoffs and, even do better than that. Win the Stanley Cup. I mean, that's our goal. That's everyone's goal at the beginning of the year. And, right now, our main focus is to get in the playoffs and just have that opportunity.
What have you learned from guys like Eric Lindros, Mark Messier, Brian Leetch?
Well, they're great guys, both on and off the ice. Obviously, they're leaders for us. Their experience and all their hard work, is really, what makes this team successful. And we as younger players try to follow their leadership and go out and try to play hard every night.
Career year for you, a great rookie season, down a bit last year, but what's really improved your game this year?
I think just obviously playing with Theo and Eric for a stretch there, helped me out, helped my confidence out, and I think just our team this year has had more success, and I think the more success your team has, the more confidence you get, and the better the team feels.
All right, a little bit of scoreboard watching for you with Michigan State taking on Michigan this afternoon.
Yeah, I try to keep up as much as I can. Obviously, this season's been pretty hectic with the schedule and everything, so it's been tough, but I try to follow as much as I can.
And of course, Ron stepping down, did it shock you?
A little bit, yeah. Obviously he's been a great coach. He's had a tremendous career there, and he's going to be good for that school as athletic director.
Wow. You were a big part of his success, and thanks for doing this, Mike.
Thank you.
Trail the Rangers 2-1. The good news is the Red Wings have scored at least one second-period goal in each of their past 19 games. And on St. Paddy's Day, Brendan Shanahan looking for number 500. Fedorov up there along with Holmstrom and McCarty to start the second period. Fisher sent one in front of the goal. Up across the line, Barnaby. Barnaby called offside. Here's a look at Roman Lyashenko. That was funny. After he scored that goal, and Matthew Barnaby trying to ask him if, in fact, it was his first National Hockey League goal. It was not. He scored 6 last year, and there's records in the American Hockey League, former Dallas property.
You talk about those the language barrier. I can remember Sergei getting knocked out in Vancouver, and the doctor ran on the ice, and he asked Sergei what 2 plus 2 was, and Sergei just gave him a blank stare. And after the game, he's my roommate. He asked me what plus meant. He didn't really understand the question, so I think the language barrier may have cost him a few games there.
And then Barnaby just gave up, asking Roman about his first goal and throw the puck off to the corner. Well, it's still, and Peter Nedved has not officially been given that goal yet, although we're still trying to find out where Michael Grosek, Dom's good buddy, although he won't be this afternoon, got his stick on it. But right now, that first New York Ranger goal, Grosek from Nedved, and they've added in the system Martin Ruchinsky. So Ruchinsky and Lyashenko, 2 newcomers, have helped the Rangers into a 2-1 lead here this afternoon. Second period, nearly a minute old as New York brings it into Red Wing territory. A shot. Hasek got a piece and off the side of the goal. Red Wings couldn't get it out. Grosek put it in toward Hasek, and he will hang on to that one. Here's a look at Ron Lowe trying to get his Rangers into the playoffs for the first time in 5 years, the 4 consecutive years being out, their longest drought since the 1950s.
They brought when they brought Glenn Sather here, it's kind of different. We talk about players changing teams. I mean, he was brought here to get this team back in the playoffs, and they opened the pocketbooks a little different than when he was in Edmonton. But so far, it doesn't look like it maybe is going to be a factor again this year.
Rangers a point behind Montreal. The Canadiens with a big win last night, while the Rangers lost at New Jersey. So every point so important for the Rangers. Sylvain Lefebvre got it ahead to Mike York, and the former Spartan who grew up idolizing Pat LaFontaine, and how great it is for York to be playing here in New York. Datsuk on York. York is back. Datsuk lost control, and York swept it away. Chelios moved up. Richter got a piece out the other side again. Lefebvre bumped off the puck. Good work by Devereaux. And knocked down out front of the goal was Hall, and a penalty coming up. He was interfered with, and Nick Magoo caught it from center ice. And the Rangers are going to be shorthanded here as Brett Hall was dumped in the high slot.
Take a look here. Brett likes hanging in front of that net in the open spot there. And Eric Lindros with a little slew foot there snuck up on him. And Eric always wonders why guys want to take a pot shot at him when he plays, and that's a reason right there. He's one of those guys that'll always sneak in the extra shot, and he's one of those guys, if he has his head down, you don't mind giving him the extra shot.
Eric Lindros now using that one-piece stick as he switched to graphite. He used to use the heaviest wooden stick in the National Hockey League. Not just that he's a big man, but with his strength, said he used to hit somebody with that stick, he'd crack it in half. That was part of the problem when he cross-checked people with bust.
I know he was a tough guy to take a face-off against. He'd try to whack his stick out of there, and it was like they were whacking a steel beam out of the way.
Draper in the corner. And with Michael Samuelson, who was mixing it up along with Holmstrom. Draper kicking at it. Came back to the line. Lidstrom. Fedorov at the other side. Shanahan to his right. Takes it. Shanahan firing. And there's Richter again for the second time. Robbing Brendan Shanahan.
I'll tell you, it's not from lack of effort or lack of great chances. Brendan Shanahan, again right here, got his shot. Had Richter beat, I think he caught it about maybe 2 feet behind him, but all Brendan can keep doing is keep on shooting.
Well, Shanahan, who was robbed in the opening period on his one shot on goal, played just under 6 minutes. Red Wings' second Bell Tire power play of this day. Shanahan 5 games without a goal.
He probably pulled out all the stops today. He's got the Shamrock. He kissed the Blarney Stone. He's probably done it all for the game tonight.
From the draw, goes to Fedorov, back to Lidstrom. There's a shot wide. Shanahan up front of the net. And a whirl around there by Draper. Couldn't get it to the goal. Draper, Holmstrom, Shanahan. Lidstrom, Fedorov picks it up. Fedorov lead feed. Holmstrom at center. He'll shoot it in, hard around. Shanahan first up. Took a hit. Heavy hit, in fact, went down. Cleared into the middle, and here come three Rangers as Fedorov's caught. Lidstrom back. Into the middle, return feed, and off the side of the goal. And Ruchinski with an opportunity. Draper in the other way. Big stuff by Richter. On Draper. Back to the line. Lidstrom. Down low, fired around in behind Robitaille. Shanahan squeezed Fedorov. Loose puck. Richter stopped that. Rebound cleared. Up into the crowd and out of play as they went end-to-end with nice scoring chances.
I think Brendan Shanahan's too happy there. He got whacked pretty good on the boards, and I think he might have whacked his head against the boards. Here he sends in Chris Draper, though, and Chris with a great play and tried to corral it for another chance here. Richter's been pretty sharp all game.
And Shanny's got the green tape you can see at the top of the stick. You're right, he pulled out all the stops. That's the luck of the Irish right there.
He's got it all going today.
Here's Hull off the draw. Hopefully it'll work. Olesen moves it back for Chris Chelios, who has the Red Wing goal this afternoon. To Olesen. Fires, stop, Richter, rebound. Hull shooting, Richter got a piece. Moving up Olesen. Datsuk knocked it out of the air. Back to Chelios. His lane blocked off. Chelios goes down low. Came up front. Oh, and Hull whipped it wide of the net.
Fred Hull doesn't miss the net on too many of those chances, and not real happy with himself right now.
Eric Lindros stepping out of the box as the Rangers are back at even strength. Red Wings, not for a lack of trying, still down 2-1. Datsuk. Bumped by Lindros. On to Fleury. Couldn't keep it. Lidstrom took it. And just missing on the deflection was Hull. McCarthy's laid pass too far for Lindros. And Lidstrom bumped back there as Wallen comes in with Lindros as Lidstrom was bumped. And there's Fleury again with the face wash all the time. And if the National Hockey League wants to stop the scrums, that's one thing you stop to start.
And it's always nice. A lot of people don't understand what the face wash is, but if you've ever been in a locker room and smelt the palm of a glove, when you rub that into someone's nose, it's probably the worst thing you can do.
Something tells me you would have done a lot of that.
I had to a little bit. I got zapped with a few of them in my day,
I'm sure you did.
My gloves actually were a little bit riper than a lot of players. My hands sweat a lot. So.
Well, what will the Rangers do with Theo Fleury? The trade deadline is Tuesday. They have a $7 million option on his contract next year, which it is unlikely they will pick up. And if they do not, he'll become an unrestricted free agent. He has to okay any trade prior to Tuesday, but you think if he were to go to a contender for the end of this season, he'd probably okay it.
Yeah, there's been a lot of talk with Florida, but I don't think Theo will okay a trade to Florida. Why would he want to go to a team that's not going to be in the playoffs?
Rangers have the puck at center. Taking over is Fisher away from Samuelson. Hooking penalty coming up again to the Rangers. And at the other end, Maltby took a stick and didn't like it. Rangers here, and Avery out there, and they're upset. Rangers get the initial penalty. We'll see what else happens after this, though. Brian Berard in there along with Avery.
I knew the sparks were going to fly with these guys on the ice here. Sean Avery is in the middle of everything with the Red Wings. And
the high stick coming up. The initial penalty was way back in the Red Wing zone. It was Michael Samuelsson, the native of Sweden, got his stick up. And Avery always chirping. He's pretty good at it, too. Guys tell me he's had some dandies, but
that was he controlled them not bad too. I never lost a verbal war in my days playing, but you guys beat me with a fist, but not too many guys landed the verbal blows to me too bad without me being able to come back.
So the Red Wings out of this will wind up with a power play again. Boiled on their last try.
The Rangers were fortunate there. They could have picked up another penalty there with Maltby got high stick in the face when he was going down the wing.
Fedorov shooting it in. Holmstrom, Draper, Shanahan, Fedorov, and Lidstrom. First try, though, the Red Wings will start deep. Hasek leaving it for Sergei Fedorov. 9 goals his past 13 games, but none his past 3. Fedorov with a couple of assists the last couple. Lidstrom caught up to that puck and got it back. Tight quarters for Holmstrom, couldn't corral it. Turning in behind. A save, and down it goes. Hasek should have left it there for Lidstrom, but didn't. Sent it the length of the ice. They're offside, and that's why Robitaille didn't touch. Instead, it's icing, so Dom miscued on that one.
I don't know if Dom was staring at the red line there and saw a phantom player there or something, but he just shot it down the ice and was kind of shaking his head. I don't think he knew what he saw somebody, maybe he didn't. It's a long way from the ice over here, but I think I could see even that there was no one there.
There was no one there on the left wing, and he and Nick coming back at him, and Dom chose to play it, so there'll be a face-off coming back in the Red Wing zone.
Right now, the Wings got to put a little urgency in their game. Right now, they're just kind of going through the motions out there, and they've got to put a little urgency in their game if they're going to beat these teams that are desperate to make the playoffs.
With Robitaille trailing Peter Bondra, the league leader in power play goals. Luke with 13 of his 29 coming with the man advantage. Datsuk, Hall, and Robitaille. Datsuk hooked on the way into the zone as Brian Leetch with it. Leetch will send it down the ice. He led the NHL defense in goals, assists, and points a season ago. Also led the league in average ice time. Right up there with league leaders this season, too. Swept around in behind for Robitaille. Fedorov at the right point to Lidstrom on the left side. Back for Fedorov. One-time shot. Didn't miss by much. Lidstrom moved up into the middle. Hall got it back to Fedorov. Return feed for Hall. Tough one to handle off the skate. Lindros and Fedorov. Fedorov keeps control as Lindros goes down. Fedorov fires. Stopped by Richter. Penalty coming up here. And it could be both. The Rangers had control and the whistle went. Is it just the Rangers?
I think the Rangers.
Check, yes. Just the Rangers gave Karpa.
I think Karpa was trying to neutralize some of the trickiness of Pavel Datsuk there. Figured the best way to do it was a cross-check to the back, but these two referees out there, there's always someone standing in front looking. We keep an eye back on the play here. He already had his hand up the referee, so Datsuk goes to the net, and that's what you got to do. If you want to score this time of year, you got to be able to stand in front of that net, and you're going to get whacked in the head the odd time.
Well, Dvorsky made that call. 19 seconds left in the Samuelson penalty, so a huge Bell Tire power play here, 5-on-3, and the Rangers nub that one out to center ice. Shanahan out there, he takes it from Lidstrom. In behind the far corner, Robitaille going after it. Leetch there first, and the Rangers will kill off the 5-on-3 portion. Samuelson out of the box. Now a minute 40 Bell Tire power play. 5-on-4 for the Red Wings. Fedorov back to Lidstrom. And again, the Red Wings can't get it into the zone. Mike York. York going wide on Lidstrom. Knocked down, and you get the feeling, oh, that one wasn't. The next penalty will be against Detroit. Here's Shanahan. Turning inside the line. Shanahan back for Fedorov. Goes across Lidstrom in the middle. Hall scores! Brett Hall out of the air! Off a Lidstrom feed, a power play goal! It's a 2-2 tie! 7:01 into the third.
We've all heard what a great golfer Brett Hall was, but that was a bunt right there. He laid down a perfect bunt down the first baseline there. Snuck right past him. See Nick Lidstrom with a little lob in there. That was almost like a two-pitch throw there. And for everybody that understands, it's not how hard you shoot. You got to get it at the net. You got to get it past your guys. Nick made sure that it didn't get blocked. Just flicked one through to the net.
Great eye-hand coordination from Brett Hall. It'll be Lidstrom and Fedorov on the assist. So it's a power play goal for the Red Wings, who have now scored a second period goal, at least one in 20 consecutive games. A 2-2 tie. Fisher. His shot in behind the goal. Sylvain Lefebvre up into the crowd and out of play. So the Red Wing power play comes up huge there thanks to Brett Hall. It's a 2-2 tie. There's the sixth all-time leading goal scorer. Now Brett Hall with 673. Mike Gartner next in his sights at 708. And and he is first among active players. Mark Messier, out for the season, has 658 goals, tied with Steve Yzerman for second among active players. Hopefully Steve returns before the end of the regular season and playoffs. Where the playoffs begin, an edge ahead of him. Now, youth hockey players, sign up for the Red Wings Youth Training Camp, hosted by Associate Coach Barry Smith, August 11th through 13th and August 14th through 16th. On-ice instruction, chalk talks in the Red Wings room, and more. Just $225 per camper. It's filling up quickly, so register right now. Operator standing by at that number, 313-396-7575. The Red Wings Youth Training Camp, hosted by Barry Smith.
I wonder what the age for that is. Maybe we could whip ourselves into shape in the summer.
We're a little bit too old.
Too old? Okay.
I'll be down there this year with Barry and helping out in the Red Wings room.
I don't know what flower that is, but he's sporting something green on his lapel.
It's St. Paddy's Day. Fleury, Lindros, York, the fly line for the Rangers. He's had great spots this season and has been awful at other times. Olesen dumped it into the corner. Kuznetsov lifts at the center ice. Slashed on the hand was McCarty. Jason Williams, long shot. Richter gloves that one, and he'll hang on with a face-off coming up in the Ranger zone. There's the native of Waterford, Mike York, who, as we mentioned, wears number 16 for Pat LaFontaine. Had number 61 at Michigan State. He wore 18 last year here, but Jamie Lundmark had switched to 40, allowing him to take it, and he is our Lowe's improvement player. And you see his numbers last year, as he told us during the first intermission, were down from his rookie season, but look what he's managed to do this year.
It's amazing. You hear his name in the trades and things like that. These other teams seem to prey on the teams that aren't maybe going to make the playoffs and try to snatch their younger players away by promising something that might be someday. So I don't think you're going to see Mr. York go anywhere.
Nor do I. Third in the Calder voting a few years back, 3 years ago, with one first-place vote. Gomez won it that year, and Brad Stewart was second. And in the balloting, and York's a good one. And again, his former school, the Spartans, take on the Wolverines following our game. The championship for the CCHA follows this game from Madison Square Garden. Michigan and Michigan State. Fans wanted a penalty in behind the play as Holmstrom is mixing it up. Nedved into the middle. And the shot over top of the goal. Good opportunity again for Martin Ruchinski. Along with Nedved, they've performed well here, side of the goal. Rangers in behind. Put out front by Malakoff. Holmstrom got it across. Chelios goes after the puck. Chelios hooked down to the ice. And things are just being let go everywhere, are they? We finally get a stop in play, and we have one aside here. What do we got coming up from Paul Dvorsky?
Either two guys are going, or he's doing his Fonzie imitation there. He had both thumbs up in the air, so I think both guys are going.
Slashing on each. Chelios trying to shake it off.
I don't know if he's grimacing in pain. We see that look on Chris's face a lot in the bench there. He's really, you got one guy at one end, Brett Hull, is always smiling, and Chris Chelios that very seldom smiles.
Well, Chris Chelios, who stayed healthy all year, has played in every game for the Red Wings, and Matthew Dandino scratched. So prior to this game, 9 Red Wings have played every game this season, and that's the most Ironman, so to speak, in the National Hockey League this year. Now 8 Red Wings have played in every game. Datsuk across the line. Richter handled that one.
It's surprising a guy like Matthew Dandino that they would be a scratch, because that's something that players do have a lot of pride in, is playing all the games. But that's one thing again, Scotty Bowman doesn't. He just cares about one thing, and that's winning Stanley Cups.
Teams are 4 aside here. Lindros kept his feet moving, trying to draw a penalty. Didn't work. But a good try by Eric Lindros. Oh, did he finish a hit hard? Did Lindros. As he really got all of Freddie Olesen. That's a lot to get into at 240 pounds when you're Eric Lindros. Chelios spinning away. Avery and Malakoff each in the box for slashing penalties. Chelios ahead to Devereaux. Berard closing on him. Boy, that was an early change by the Rangers. As they blocked off Devereaux, a man coming in behind to go off would block Devereaux's path. Could have been too many men on the ice.
That's still one of the grayest rules in the league, is that line change.
The Rangers did a good job and got away with one. Knocked down by Devereaux. Andreas Johansson moved the puck ahead, taken over though by Draper, got it back to Fisher. Draper circles at center. Fisher return feed from Chelios. Here comes Yuri Fisher to center. Failing to go in across the line was Devereaux as Draper was in ahead of the play. Chelios knocked down his man, so again the fans here at Madison Square Garden have the armbands on. Devereaux kicking at it, got it back to the line in a good play. Chelios to Fisher with room, fires, scores! Yuri Fisher shot one right through Mike Richter, and it's 3-2 Red Wings.
All the great saves Mike Richter had made up this game. He wishes he had that one back right between his legs. I don't know if the puck maybe went flat. Maybe we'll get a look at the replay, but just squeezed through it between his legs.
He could have walked in another 10 feet, too. Look at the room.
It's like a basketball player. He already knows where his range is, and that's where he thought, I guess, from 35 feet out, that was where he was going to score it from.
Just Yuri Fisher with his third of his career.
See if we can see him. Right under the armpit. I think that maybe got under the glove.
So the Red Wings with a 3-2 lead after being up 1-0, trailed 2-1, and have scored 2 here in the second period, which is by far, throughout this season, their best period of hockey in goal differential. And showing it here again this afternoon. Drop pass wide as Ruchitsky dropped it for Nedved. Getting over was Grosek to get in Darren McCarty's way. Nedved away with Ruchinski into the middle. Martin Ruchinski. He came over on time in the Patrick Waugh deal in Montreal. Point shot, knocked down. Oh, Hasek got that one. Side of the goal, banging away at it. Wallen's got it in his skate. Fedorov digs it free and clears it out to center.
There's a lot of screaming and yelling. I'll tell you who's going to get the next penalty in this game will be the Red Wings, because the Ranger fans have sure been lobbying hard for it.
Puck deep in Ranger territory. Nedved, Fedorov. Rangers control. Shanahan moved up. Got his leg in the way and thought better of a trip there, which was a good idea. Max Kuznetsov turns back in his own zone. Cross to Freddie Olesen. Jason Williams on the fly. Williams bumped by Lyashenko. Came right out over top of the goal. Robitaille, Maltby, Williams. Backed up at center. Olesen to Kuznetsov. Quick feed into the middle. Williams to Kuznetsov again. Fisher scoring from Chelios at 10:46 of the second period. So Chelios has himself a goal and an assist in the 3-2 Red Wings lead. Knifed away at center, Kuznetsov. Across the line, Robitaille. Tipped in front of the goal. Good chance there for Jason Williams. Given up at the line. There's a shot. Richter stopped it and works free the other side. And the Rangers, in desperation, need a break. And they'll get it. When we return to Madison Square Garden, the face-off will be in the Rangers zone. The Red Wings up by 1. Third career goal for Yuri Fisher, and his first goal in 65 games. Last one came just the second game of the season against the Vancouver Canucks out in Vancouver back on October 6th. So he gets a big one here. With the Red Wings in the lead by 1. And Boyd Devereaux's been given an assist on that as well, so from Chelios and Devereaux.
I guess he's been watching his line there with Chelios there. He didn't want to be left out. He wanted to score a couple too.
Played behind the goal for Fisher. York on him quickly. Datsuk back to help. Too far for Devereaux. It'll roll back into Ranger territory. Sylvain Lefebvre, a veteran of 13 years, played it ahead. Lots of talk about Lefebvre, too, at the deadline. Very good in his own zone, not necessarily a physical defenseman. That hit a stanchion, stays in. Fleury up there along with York and Lindros. Fleury bump squeezed to the corner by Fisher. Puck still along near boards. Fisher knocked down his man, and there it is. There's the call. As Mike York was knocked down, and Yuri Fisher will go to the box for interference. You knew that was coming.
I would have won the bet, but that's
I wouldn't have taken that bet because I was right there with you.
But it's something that they had some chances and they had to call it.
We'll be back. Play just underway, and the Red Wings are shorthanded. Yuri Fisher in the box for interference, so it's a New York Ranger power play. They're down by a goal. Sandy McCarthy, who scored some big goals, is out there. You know he'll be going to the front of the net, but first he runs at Chelios, who puts it back. Fleury to get it. The Rangers' leading scorer, Theo Fleury, back for Brian Leach. York shoots it in. Mike York. Hasek hopped over his stick. Eric Lindros to York to Lindros. McCarthy to the front of the goal. There's Leach to Fleury. Pair of 14. Shanahan on Fleury. Leach, the captain. Front of the goal. Now in behind. Hasek down. Puck comes back. Fleury can't get over there in time to take it. Then lost it. Shanahan in. Fleury got the angle on Brendan Shanahan, who will go to the bench for a change. Sandy McCarthy through center. McCarthy brings it in across the line. Didn't want to be known as a fighter anymore, and he's showing his skills. Lindros shooting it around. Back to the line. Fleury toward the goal. Hasek stopped it. Rebound. Hustling after it. Draper's speed on Fleury. And Fleury got just enough to knock it away. Leach racing through center ice. Up across the line. Got it through. Failing to contain it was Martin Ruchinski. Up there along with Michael Grosek trying to dig it out of the skates of Maltby. Tying it up with Olesen. Puck squirted free. Peter Nedved. Puck kitty corners around near side. Slapped back in by Leach. Taken away by Lidstrom. Lidstrom just dumps one into the right wing corner.
Nick Lidstrom, the whole 2-minute penalty kill out there, and he's still strong at the end of the shift. Great credit to his condition.
Here it's stolen. Hall, left wing side. Hall across. You knew he wasn't going to shoot. He had Devereux, and Hall could have shot, did not. And again, he's been looking to pass rather than shoot.
He passes almost as hard as he shoots sometimes, and there, Boyd Devereux just turned around and got him 5-hole. So the Red Wings still off that Ranger power play. Still up by a goal. Datsuk down low. And Kuznetsov bounces off legs. Right front. And Hasek got over. Out front again. Banging away. Hasek got a piece. And a penalty upcoming again to the Red Wings. It'll be offside. And the Red Wings will be shorthanded. Not too many times it happened for the Red Wings, but with Nick Lidstrom and Chelios almost killing that whole penalty, two of the younger guys get stuck out there together with Max and Jesse Wallen taking advantage of a little bit in their own end with some good forecheck. And
well, will this be 4 or 2?
Right here we can see in front of the net, the puck goes to the corner. And I'm not sure what hit him, but...
And with the cut to Grosek, it'll be a 4-minute penalty to Max Kuznetsov. And a reminder, following this game, automatic berth in the NCAA hockey tourney at stake, and the championship of the CCHA, Michigan State, Red Berenson, Ron Mason, and crew, starting at 6 here on Fox Sports Net after our game here from Madison Square. So Kuznetsov in for 4 minutes, under 3 to go here in the second. The Red Wings have outshot the Rangers 16-4 here in the middle period. After New York outshot Detroit 14-9 in the first. Mike York sent it in toward the net. York put it around far side. McCarthy to the front of the goal. York to Lindros. Sharp angle, scores! Tie game. Lindros. So 2 minutes remain in the power play for the Rangers.
I don't think Dom expected that shot from there right here. This is a set play by the Rangers, but we can see right there, tipped off Jari Fischer's stick.
Yes, it did.
Dom gives him one of those looks like, why did you do that?
You don't mean to, yeah. You like defensemen to get the sticks out of the way, but Lindros scores his 28. Talked about the Rangers needing their big guns to score. Lindros did there. And the Red Wings still shorthanded. That'll be on the first 2 of the 4 minutes. So for another 2, the Rangers stay on a power play. 3-3 tie, late stages, period 2. Confident Brian Berard. Berard with that limited vision in that right eye. A miracle is even playing again. Berard has it. Just enough vision to see. Hasek with that special contact lens. Surgeries that he's had to endure. Berard goes after it near side. Berard with it away from Maltby. Berard still in there battling. And then taken away. Maltby will lift it down the ice. Lindros scoring from York and Leach at 17:29, a power play goal.
I'll tell you, one of the longest skates you can have as a player is when they score when you're in the penalty box. And if they get 2, that's even a real much longer skate than that.
That's just the Red Wings' 15th power play goal against them on the road this year. And 135 times shorthanded. But they're few and far between. Net is off the moorings. There's a wraparound try from Brett Hull. The whistle coming, 41 seconds to go in period number 2. A reminder, it's the Detroit Sports Report at 10 o'clock tonight, now expanded to cover the entire world of sports from Detroit and beyond. And again, a CCHA champion will be crowned. That will follow the game, which we will have for you. The Sweet 16 is all set. And what should the Red Wings do prior to Tuesday's deadline at 3 in the afternoon? And the Red Wings will take on the Mighty Ducks of Anaheim that night at the Joe. All coming up on the Detroit Sports Report following the CCHA championship game later tonight.
Hockey Sunday today, I guess, in Motown.
Sure is. We're not going to kid anybody. That game's being played this afternoon, but we are tape delaying it. We'll show it to you immediately at the conclusion of our game. Michigan and Michigan State playing. Leach sent it ahead. Puck is knocked down. Fleury turns back in his own zone. Pestered there by Brett Hull. Fleury. Oh, nearly lost to Datsuk. Then grabbed hold of Datsuk's stick in his legs. Fleury right wing side. Gains the Red Wing line. Fleury had to come back to him at the point. Into the middle. Leach. Shot knocked down. It'll come out to center. 35 seconds to go in the second.
It's about 3 or 4 passes Fleury's made to the Detroit guys in their slot. Maybe he thinks the trade rumors are taking him to Detroit.
No, sir. Kuznetsov shooting it ahead. Shanahan. Puck is tipped. So the Red Wings back at even strength. Oh, the Rangers get 1 on the first of the 4 minutes, and another penalty coming up here. Called at center ice from Mick Magoo. And the Red Wings are running into penalty trouble.
Well, we know why they weren't calling them early. They were saving them up for the second period, I guess. They knew how strong Detroit's been, and the only thing that can really neutralize them in the second period is a lot of penalties, and it's 3 in a row now for them.
Draper goes in. So the Red Wings will be short-handed and fresh ice for the Rangers. with which to start the third period with 12.5 seconds left in the second. If you're a guy like Ruth Robitaille sitting there in front of Scotty Bowman, you don't kill penalties. It really disrupts your flow and disrupts the lines. The Red Wings seem to have that going early stages of this period, and now that's all kaput. Chelios stepped up, cleared it away. The second period comes to a close, so the Red Wings, who trail 2-1 after one, are all even with the Rangers through two, as Eric Lindros deflected one off the stick of Yuri Fisher, who had scored a big goal to put the Red Wings in front by one. So the Rangers will have a power play to start the third. We'll chat with Dave Lewis about this game so far, all even. Red Wings and Rangers. Dave Lewis in a moment. Madison Square Garden in New York on a Sunday afternoon as we get set to start period number 3. The Red Wings and Rangers all even at 3 apiece, and that first New York Ranger goal is still Michael Grosek, so they have not given it to Peter Nedved, so his slump continues without one now into his 12th game. And Grosek gets one against his pal Dominik Hasek. Grosek, Lyashenko, and Lindros for the Rangers, Chelios, Hull, and Fisher for the Red Wings in the story through 2 periods of play. And you have a big question about those hits.
They have Yuri Fisher is only having a couple hits this game, and they have him as no hits this game, and he's already ran into Lindros 3 or 4 times in the corner. So a lot of times when you get on the road, you see it in Dallas a lot of times. Darian Hatcher always ends up the game with 8 or 9 hits, and your guys don't have any. So that's kind of a statistic that there's a little bit of gray area involved too.
Red Wings are, in terms of hits in the league, 3rd fewest overall within any game, but still, they have discrepancy today that I don't think is necessarily right.
Detroit has the puck most of the time too. There's no sense hitting somebody when you have the puck.
You got it, unless you're really upset at one of your own teammates.
I've done that before.
Yeah. Red Wings are shorthanded to start the third period, and the shot went wide of Hasek. Fleury couldn't hold it in here. Shanahan away left wing side. Leach is back though. Shanahan into the middle. And taken away and turning is Mike York, who has at least 1 assist now in 4 consecutive games. Fleury offside. Went off the skate of McCarthy and in, but not before the whistle, or if not offside, penalty coming up to the Rangers. This will be an interference call against New York.
I think we'll take our eye Eric Lindros, another one of his little tricky little thinks no one's looking. It's tough to get away with those now that there's 2 referees out there. Little hook, a little strip here and there. Take a look to see if we can see it here where Eric is. Oh,
right at the blue line.
Right at the blue line. Kind of tried to get out of the way, but that was maybe an even-up call for one of the ones they give against the Red Wings.
That's what he's questioning, but earlier he stuck the leg out and sort of swoop-footed Brett Hall, and you have to wonder, with the Rangers a point out of a playoff spot, every game is so huge for them, why would you even risk against a team like Detroit taking penalties like he has?
Yeah, he's been known to take a few, and
Olesen puts it in around Fisher, lead feed. Datsuk drops it back for Freddie Olesen. Last man. And had it taken away by Peter Nedved. Pavel Datsuk, little stutter step at the line around Malakoff, who grabbed a hold of him. Then Datsuk hooked down to the ice. Nedved couldn't get away. Hull feathered one back to the point for Fisher. His shot went wide. Olesen back for Datsuk. Datsuk spinning away from Malakoff. Datsuk off the back of the goal. That patented move out front of the net. Oh, and a stop by Richter as Hull let it go. And what a play again from Pavel Datsuk.
You know what's coming, and I think they know what's coming, but you got to respect him. If he goes around the net, you've got to be chasing him. So it's a hard play to defend against.
Nice move to get away from the veteran Vladimir Malakoff. And I guess from one Russian to another, he showed him something.
That's twice now. Brett Hall's had a pretty good chance at an empty net and missed the net, and he's not a guy with that many goals in your career. Misses the net on those empty net chances.
Well, went off the side. I'm not sure whether Richter had a piece of that or just hit the side. Power play now as Draper's out of the box. So 5-on-4 belt tire power play for just over a half minute here for the Red Wings. With Lindros in there. Lidstrom couldn't hold it in. Hasek will come out of the goal. He'll fire it back Lidstrom's way as Chelios on the move, and he takes it. Long shot in. Shanahan will head in after it. Lefebvre first on it. Puck up high and comes down. Fleury over the boards. York shot. Handled by Hasek into the corner. Fleury. Holmstrom. Around for Chelios. Now Eric Lindros out of the box. So the Rangers back at even strength. Shanahan chased by Lindros. Draper couldn't catch up to the puck. Lindros with a couple of good moves through skates, flips it in. Knocked down on the play was Shanahan as Fleury got a piece of him. Long shot by Holmstrom rising over top of the goal. Played around behind by Malakoff to Lefebvre, who's bumped by Avery. Sandy McCarthy with it. Max Kuznetsov is back. Backhanded by Maltby, but not out. McCarthy holds it in. Lindros in front, too far for him. Leach got it through to Fleury. Knocked off stride is Kuznetsov. There's the long and short of it.
It's like a big brother trying to take the puck away from the little brother taking away from the big brother.
He got it. Drop back. The shot rising high from Maltby and up in the crowd and out of play. And a souvenir.
Talk a little bit about Eric Lindros. I believe, this is my opinion, he's a good player in this league. I think with some of the injuries, his knee and maybe his foot now, he lacks that speed to kind of dominate a game where a Fedorov or a Sakic, a guy like that seems to dominate. He doesn't seem to make the players around him as good as your great players in the game. So I think that kind of frustrates Eric at times, but if he plays inside his limitation, he's definitely one of the good players in the league.
Former first overall pick of Quebec in '91, but didn't report. Puck off to the corner, and then a huge trade to Philadelphia for the then unknown Peter Forsberg. Well, they thought he'd be good, but not this good. And Steve Duchesne, Barry Huffman, Mike Ricci, Ron Hextall, Chris Simon, and a first-round pick in '93. It turned out to be Jocelyn Thibault.
I wonder if we'll see any big trades like that. The money's a little different now. To make those big trades, you need a good lawyer and a bunch of accountants there.
Money was big there, too, and $15 million. So, quite the deal. Leach. Only Phil Housley stands in his way for all-time American defenseman in points. Leach played it in through the middle. The shot by Grosek went wide. Red Wings at center, Devereaux. The shot, Richter. Got that one, and he'll hang on as Berard steps in front of Datsuk. Now go behind the scenes with your favorite Red Wings with a subscription to Inside Hockeytown Magazine, team's official publication. $30 for 1 year, or sign up for 2 years and get a free Inside Hockeytown t-shirt. 313-396-7575 is the number to subscribe. Fans enjoying this matinee affair at Madison Square Garden. Hope you are too at home with us on Fox Sports Net. Red Wings will fly home after this game and get set for the Mighty Ducks of Anaheim and the trade deadline on Tuesday. Then we'll not have to worry about how many are on the roster, as the roster becomes unlimited after that.
It's a tense time for players. A lot of people don't realize it's, the guy gets up and leaves, but you've got a house, you've got furniture, you've got all kinds of things. A lot of guys have a family and school. It's a big life change.
I almost think it should be a day off the trade deadline day for all the teams and let players get where they have to go and not worry about having to play a game that night. Grosek. Chased in behind. Rangers control. Back to the line. But it bounces to center. Dave Karp on it. Harper with Malakoff. His pass too far. No icing, though. Olesen back to get it. Both teams changing. Lidstrom. Over Fedorov's stick. Backhanded down the ice by Andreas Johansson. Samuelson down there. Shanahan to the line. Johansson got in the way, knocked over. Here come the Red Wings. Draper flying in right wing. Draper. Around Berard, left it back there. Shanahan up on the forecheck. Johansson with it at the line. And he'll send it back down as Chelios takes over with Fisher on defense. Fisher across for Chris Chelios.
Like a heavyweight boxing fight now. They're just kind of flipping her back and forth to each other. See who wants to make a mistake.
We've seen some great heavyweight boxing fights here at Madison Square Garden. Rangers move it ahead. Too far down there, Barnaby. Came loose in the middle. Chelios without a glove and a stick. Picks up the glove and heads to the bench. Fedorov shot. Blocked. Oh, and a great stop again. Shanahan. Richter. You could have nightmares about this one. Richter with another great save to keep it 3-3. He's got the green tape on the stick on St. Paddy's Day. The Irish eyes may not be smiling, but they are wide open.
And he's looking for the red light, not the green tape right now, but I think Mr. Richter doesn't want to be the guy that gives up his 500th, because he's had some great chances, and 3 or 4 times he's had him beat to the glove hand, but Richter doesn't want to be that guy that gives it up.
Scored 3 and 400 against the Maple Leafs. Here's Fleury. Knocked down. Where is it? Where is it? No, says Mick Magoo. No goal, he says. And he's saying the whistle would have gone, and the Ranger player forced it in over the line when he bumped into Don. And Mick Magoo emphatic in telling the captain, Brian Leach, no, whistle gone, your guy came in, face off right here, he had it on his pad, no way.
I'm surprised Eric Lindros didn't whack at that earlier. He was standing there looking at it, and after the whistle went, he gave it a good whack. Right here, it's sitting there, and he can't really even see from that angle if the puck did go over the line. Maybe we'll get a look here. There we have the water bottle maybe in the way where the puck might be sitting here.
The whistle had blown was the official word. It'll be a tough one to count.
We didn't see anything to say the puck even went over the goal line there. This is one area Scotty Bowman wish he had Steve Yzerman back for the face-off there.
They were so key yesterday, too, in Boston. Even to start with possession of a power play or a penalty kill, yes, that's where Yzerman's truly missed. The face-off department, one of the league leaders every year. The top handful, if not the top few. Left wing side. Chelios took it away from Mike York. And a penalty coming up. Avery carried through, and Maltby, is he getting a pick?
That was a Fleury special there. For anyone that's been to Dairy Queen, that was a McFlurry there. He does that all the time. He skates into the player. We get a look here. He was going down before the stick even hit him. We get a look when he starts to go down here.
Yep. Maltby barely touched him. Fleury let the feet go, and Maltby goes to the box. The Best Damn Sports Show, period. As sports, comedy, commentary, scores, highlights, entertaining guests. Kick back, relax, enjoy the Best Damn Sports Show, period. Now available weeknights at 8 and 11 on Fox Sports Net. Shots are 27-22 in the Red Wings' favor. Scores all even. Ranger power play. Shanahan getting in front of Vladimir Malakoff. He's been somewhat of an enigma through his career.
He's big. That's all you can say about him.
Into the middle for Berard. Chelios takes over off Berard and just out of the reach of Sergei Fedorov. Fedorov and Shanahan go to the bench. Brett Hull comes over the boards. Hull then knocked down that puck. Comes to the line to Berard. Sent it toward the goal. There's Chelios again out there with Lidstrom. Lidstrom takes it to Datsuk, who's up with Hull, and he'll shoot it down as Hull will go after it. Hull nearly was able to tip it out front. Hull with that goal today gives him 441 since the 91-92 season, and that's the most in the National Hockey League of any player the last decade. Race for the puck. Richter coming out with Devereaux coming at him. Richter played it ahead to Sandy McCarthy at center. Into Lindros. Leaving it there for Leach. Drop pass picked off. Draper. He knew he had McCarthy back. Draper spins by him. Just out of the reach of Devereaux. In for Draper, kicking at it. Leach came loose in the skates flurry. And McCarthy sends one ahead to Lindros, left wing into the middle. Gets the return feed. Lindros back in for York. Left it for Lindros. Magoo just trying to get out of the way of the referee down there. Lindros. York, McCarthy out front. Fleury moving in. Sharp angle shot blocked. And too far for Draper as the penalty to Maltby is now over. So the 20th best power play in the league couldn't get anything going there against the second best road penalty killing unit. Fired up high and into the crowd and out of play.
Tom hasn't been tested too much this period, but 3-3. Both teams are kind of still feeling out each other here and kind of waiting for that big break.
Dominic Hasek, who had his winning streak and unbeaten streak snapped. The league leader in victories with 38. A new personal best for him. That streak was snapped against the Sabres. But through the middle, McCarty up with Jason Williams and Luc Robitaille. Wallen back on defense. It's somewhat of a tough afternoon. Jesse Wallen. There's a shot in behind the goal. Robitaille tapped it back for Kuznetsov, who's out there with Wallen after the penalty kill.
They haven't. This is the second shift I think they've had maybe together, and Wallen's first in the last 20 minutes of the game. So.
If you have Chelios and Lidstrom spending so much time killing off the Ranger power play, past the halfway point of this third period by 14 seconds. We'll be back in a moment. There's Brendan Shanahan still looking for 500. We can tell you out of town, Phoenix and Minnesota tied at 2 in Minnesota and St. Paul. So the Coyotes now unbeaten in 7 and now have themselves 78 points within one of the 5th place LA Kings, and they distance themselves a bit from St. Louis, sitting 7th. So the Phoenix Coyotes are really making quite a run with that team.
Sean Burke has been he's got 40 shots the other night. He's been a huge presence. He's a big guy, and he's been a huge presence for that team since he came back healthy.
A lot of the credit has to go to Cliff Fletcher. Even before Mike Barnett came in, he swung a lot of those deals at the deadline, the offseason, and moving to Chuck and Roenick, and what a job. And Coyotes are young, but they could surprise somebody in the playoffs if they get there.
Scary to think if the playoffs started today, the Wings would be playing the Dallas Stars.
Wouldn't it? Kuznetsov takes it from Olesen and circles in behind the goal. Dumped there by Grosek. Avery back. Nedved chasing. Put it up into the middle, but a safe play as Holmstrom's there. And leaving it for Olesen. Joining the rush. Red Wing defense have been doing that more. Into Holmstrom, and the shot went wide. Red Wing defense did not join the rush a lot yesterday in Boston. Out front of the goal, Maltby! And a stop by Richter. And they're doing it a lot more this afternoon. Olesen at the point. Maltby getting there first, gave it to Holmstrom, to Avery. Back in Maltby. Maltby in the middle. Fires! Oh, and stopped by Richter. The third good chance Maltby's had this afternoon.
Like the Wings had problems with the Rangers rolling it down deep. This is a line for Detroit that gives them a different dimension. Not too many of the Wings lines are going to beat you down low, but that's one of them that's going to do it to you. And right here, Maltby, tricky little move here. And it's funny seeing Leach covering the point man there, but they get kind of mixed around there. We see some good cycling here. It'd be nice to see the Wings have somebody maybe going to the net a little bit. Right here, we see Freddie Olesen right here trying to sneak in, but they got picked up, so that's a good time for a defenseman to get out of there.
Lidstrom's point shot handled easily by Richter. Then Lindros knocking down Fedorov, who's out with Shanahan and Draper. Draper held up, can't get to the puck. Now Shanahan in. Fedorov chasing. Fedorov in behind the goal. Fedorov couldn't come out front. Moving in Lidstrom to Fedorov, gloved it down, watched by Sylvain Lefebvre. Seals him to the side boards, does Lefebvre. Back to the line. Good play by Shanahan to Wallen. Played ahead, Fleury at center. Fleury crossing with York. It hit Lidstrom. Shanahan back defensively. Wallen spun one back in behind the goal. That suit comes off the bench. Using that strong upper body to fend off the check. Didn't get it out. Leach into the middle. Puck to the corner. Hasek on the move. And played it up and out of play. Hasek claiming deflection. And he's going to get a penalty.
Magoo's saying it went into the bench, and Dvorsky's saying it went over the glass. So
right, if it goes into the bench, it's okay. If it goes into the bench, it's not a penalty. If it goes over the glass, it is.
We'll see who the senior ranking official is here, or who has the best view on it, because Magoo was waving it off, and Dvorsky was sending him to the box.
Unless one said he wasn't sure. Let's see if we can get a look. Where's this puck go out?
The boys on the bench were ducking, so I would assume that it went into the bench.
Well, it went right over everything. I mean, into the bench is one thing, but over everything is another. Well, there you go. Over everything, I guess, was the call.
Well, they're going to the box.
Right, that's why. So Red Wings will be shorthanded, and a reminder, Detroit Sports Report now expanded to cover the entire world of sports in Detroit and beyond. CCHA champion will be crowned this afternoon. We'll have the game for you following our game. Michigan and Michigan State. Sweet 16 is set. Should the Red Wings deal before the deadline? That's tonight's poll question. Log on to foxsports.com. Keyword Detroit to answer, and we'll give your answers on the Detroit Sports Report. Now the only sports show Detroit fans will ever need, tonight at 10 on Fox Sports Net. So delay a game, the call.
That whole little sequence started when Jesse Wallen just didn't get the puck out. He tried to make a turn and go back into his own end. And imagine Dave Lewis is telling him when he goes to the bench, just get the puck out and be simple.
Yep, it's been a tough day for him. There's a shot deflected to the corner. So the Red Wings on a power play in the delay of game as Hasek shot it out of play. Came back to the line. There's Fleury. His shot blocked. And a good play by Draper to get it ahead to Maltby, who certainly had some chances here this afternoon. Sandy McCarthy bumped off the puck by Maltby. Back to the line it goes. Lidstrom fires. Oh, and went through Richter again and just missed. Maltby as Fleury takes it away. Up to Eric Lindros. Lindros dropped it back. McCarthy couldn't get a shot. Leach to York. Chelios on him. Lindros to the middle. To Fleury. Missed the net. Fleury with it again. Back to the line to Leach. In for Theo Fleury. Chelios moved over, and clearing it is Fedorov.
McCarthy, by far the best player for the Rangers today, he's not looking like a fighter at all right now. He's making moves like some of the great players in the league would like to make.
He's been their best player for the past 3 or 4 games, too, as the Red Wings send it back down the ice.
We talked about a little earlier when he was in Calgary. They didn't play him many minutes, and they just want him to fight. He doesn't mind fighting, but he wants the ice time to be able to be a hockey player, too. And he's proven it the last 10 games, anyways, that he is one.
Rangers have won just one of their past 4, one being an overtime loss. They did pick up a point there. Within a point of the playoffs coming into play today. And they need every point they can muster. Grosek put it through. Martin Ruchinski with Nedved. Ruchinski back to the line. Berard hustled up. Time winding down in the Hasek minor penalty. And Boyd Devereaux steps out of the box. He was serving it for him, so the Red Wings back at even strength. Devereaux back to get the puck. 5.5 to go. Third period in a 3-3 tie. Red Wings led 1-0 early in the first, trailed 2-1 after the first. And they're tied at 3 after 2. Darren McCarty couldn't get much on it. He returned to the lineup this afternoon for the Red Wings. Big collision there at center as Jesse Wallen was mixing it up with Michael Samuelsson, the Swedish player who likes to play gritty a la Thomas Holmstrom. Rangers bring it in across the line. High shot handled easily by Hasek. There's Samuelsson again. Mixing it up in front of the goal with Wallen. And he'll step in with nothing further developing there. Late stages, third period. We'll be back in a moment. Welcome back to Madison Square Garden. A reminder, the Detroit Sports Report later tonight. A reminder after this game, the CCHA Championship. Don't go anywhere. It follows this game from Madison Square Garden. Michigan and Michigan State battling for the CCHA Championship. And an automatic bid to the NCAA. This year in Minneapolis.
I'd say both those teams are going anyways to Minneapolis.
One with an at-large bid, yeah, could be.
Still need those bragging rights.
For sure. Under 5 to go here in the third period of a tie game. Chelios knocked it down at his own line across for Fisher. That pass didn't work. Rangers rifle it back in. Hasek leaving it there for Fisher. Quickly around, too far for Chelios. Avery into the corner on Barnaby. Those two cut from the same cloth. Puck in behind Hasek. Chelios. Leach plays one back. Gets the return feed. Rangers changing on the fly. York couldn't handle in the middle. Holmstrom moved it ahead. Here comes Fedorov. Fedorov moving in on goal and knocked off stride. Did not get through as David Karpa stayed with him. Karpa to Fleury. Banked it off the boards to the Red Wing line. Shanahan turns at his own blue line. His pass on to the stick of Fedorov into Draper. Couldn't get through. Fedorov back for Draper. Point shot off to the corner. Fleury had his stick lifted by Draper. And sent around up into the middle. Quick shot went wide of the goal. Picking it up, Jesse Wallen. Mike York on Wallen. Didn't get it out hard enough. Fleury. And Wallen moved into him. Wallen on defense along with Lidstrom as Shanahan will backhand one into Ranger territory. Speedy Draper down there in his number 30 or 23 Malakoff. And Lefebvre shoots it in.
Even though Jesse Wallen's not having the best game, Scotty Bowman showing some confidence, putting him out here in the last 5 minutes of the game.
To the line, Datsuk trying to bust free. Nedved took it away at his helmet. Knocked off, puts it back in place. Fisher sent hard into the boards. Rangers have it at the line, sent wide of the net. Moving in, Brian Leach toward the net. And that was screened, but able to hang on with 2:42 to go in the third. And time now for our standard Federal check of the game.
Sean Avery with a couple big hits here. One of the things he does, he likes to accelerate through those hits. So a lot of times he ends up falling down, but the other guy usually goes down too, and it makes for a pretty exciting hit for the fans.
Sean Avery now playing in his 25th game. Scored his first NHL goal, the game winner at Pittsburgh, then scored his second the next game against the Leafs. And being from North York, that'll bring him some bragging rights there. Point shot deflected up high as Hasek was standing tall, went over the net. Devereaux with Datsuk and Hall. Datsuk overskated, got it back, left it for Devereaux. Devereaux still on it into the corner to Datsuk. He's held up, trying to get past. He did. Datsuk slippery as ever. And it goes through, and Richter will hang on. The Rangers must be saying, where does this guy come from, and where's he going? We can't grab a hold of him.
I'll tell you, I don't think he actually moved from the spot he was standing there, but you couldn't get a hold of him there. They must put a little Vaseline on the shoulders before the game.
Seven points the last 7 games. Fifth in rookie scoring at a 4-game point streak. Stopped yesterday.
That's all after the first part of the year. He wasn't really a regular player. It wasn't until after the coaches really saw what he could do that he started to be a big player. Now you see him on the first unit of the power play most of the time.
Lidstrom off the draw. Lidstrom to the middle. There's a shot. Richter stopped it. Rebound. Scores! McCarty! He returns to the lineup and gets a huge goal. 4-3 with 2:08 to play. And there's the importance of winning a
a great face-off, but Darren McCarty going to the net, and there's rebounds there, and I'll tell you, that finger probably feels a lot better right now. Right here we see a good face-off, and we see a good hold-up here by Darren McCarty. I don't know if we get another angle, another look at that. See, Darren McCarty made the play by holding up the guy that's supposed to go out to Nicholas Lidstrom, and then follows it up for a rebound. Goal.
Well, Darren McCarty, his first goal in 8 games played, but missed the past 6, and gets his 4th of the season, and that's a huge one. 4-3, the Red Wings lead. Fedorov, McCarty, and Robitaille. And obviously, the key on the draw, Scotty Bowman with some different units throughout this afternoon, and that one sure flipped.
We can see this draw right from the start. Let's keep an eye on Darren McCarty here. Right here, he holds up the forward going out to the point, so he can't get out to Nicholas Lidstrom, and ends up scoring the goal.
But really, that's the shot that Richter should have grabbed. There should have been no rebound. He had it in his glove.
No, clear
That's
shot.
Rebound goal.
This is what the Rangers have done all year. They've found a way to lose a game, and Mike Richter hasn't been as sharp as he had. In his prime, he would have stopped that, and there wouldn't have been a rebound, and Darren McCarty would have been heading back for a face-off in the corner.
Sergei Fedorov gets his 3rd assist of this afternoon. Lidstrom also assisting on it at 17:52 to make it 4-3. There's the hero so far. Can the Red Wings make it stand up? Chelios gets it back to Lidstrom, and they'll log a lot of ice time in this final few minutes. Here comes Fedorov again. Fedorov busting off a hit of Grosek. Back to the line, Chelios couldn't hold it in. So Fedorov, who had a quiet afternoon yesterday in Boston, has come through with 3 huge points here this afternoon. Had a lot more jump today. Fedorov holding up Ruchinski. Chelios. Lead feed, Robitaille race to the puck. Richter coming out of the goal, and he played it to center. Fedorov intercepting again. Puts it inside the Ranger line. Berard played it back. Good pressure by the Red Wings. Grosek can't get anywhere. Taken away. Shanahan shoots it in. Richter has to come out and play it. Maltby first one on him. Maltby gave his man a shove. Leach will watch for Richter to lead. Fleury across the line. Fleury sent one in. Hasek blocker stop. Richter goes to the bench. The Ranger net is empty. Back to the line. Held in. Berard. Hasek through crowd. Where is it? The whistle. Did it go? Yes, as Lindros was there. But the whistle had gone and a big crowd in front.
Everybody's looking for the puck, and it's out by the blue line, and one of the most exciting things in hockey when the goalie's pulled. Right here, the Wings all think it's it's frozen, and here I don't know what happened. Someone kind of jams it out of Dom's glove, but
Lindros obviously heard the whistle go because he didn't take a second whack at it, but they've come so close, the Rangers. The Mike York chance and the whistle went. Lindros, he hit the post. Lindros hit the post. There's been a timeout called by Detroit. So with that timeout, it's time, first of all, to check our mobile speed pass of this game. And it comes off of Brendan Shanahan, great chance, and it's the pass here from Draper.
it was almost number 500, but we've had a few almost 500s for Brendan Shanahan tonight. Maybe with 42.5 seconds left here with an empty net. Looks like Brendan might be out there.
Not the way you want to get it, but at this point, without scoring one in 5 games, he'll take anything.
He'll take anything, and I think, like you say, it's been a while, and I think he'll take it on an empty net right now.
And a reminder, at 6 o'clock, as this afternoon turns into tonight, we'll have the championship game for you. Michigan and Michigan State comes your way from Joe Louis Arena. Automatic bid to the NCAA at stake and the CCHA championship game, 6 o'clock from the Dome. The Spartans and Wolverines. Here, though, big 42 seconds left. Ranger net is empty. Red Wings up by a goal. Hall, Shanahan with it. Gives it to Fedorov. 3 assists tonight. Fedorov down out, shoots, scores! A 4-point night, a goal, and 3 assists for Sergei Fedorov, icing one. It's 5-3 with 30 seconds left.
Well, Sergei must have known something. I saw him coming to the rink today at about 12:30. He was the first one here. He was ready to play this game. He's a big-time player, and he shows up in big cities, and they don't get any bigger than this tonight. And he was definitely the best player for the Wings on the forward. I think Chris Chelios had a great game on the blue line for them tonight.
And with that in mind, well, let's bring you our McDonald's player of the game. And sure enough, it is that man right there, Sergei Fedorov. And if you guess Sergei, you might win $25 in McDonald's gift certificates, great Fox Sportsnet apparel, and a chance at 2 Red Wing playoff tickets. Join us this Tuesday night from the Joe to see if you were first to guess Sergei Fedorov or McDonald's player of the game. A goal and 3 assists is the Red Wings with the best road record in the National Hockey League. Shanahan and Hall assisting at 19:29. So officially 31 seconds to go. This game is over. Red Wings have won their last 6 in a row against the New York Rangers, continuing to dominate and have outscored New York now 32-8 over those 6 games. And win here, Sergei Fedorov a goal and 3 assists, Sean. A big game for Fedorov and the Red Wings.
The Red Wings definitely needed that win. They had a bad loss against Buffalo, a tough loss against Boston, but needed a big win tonight.
And they win it 5-3 here this afternoon. You've been watching Red Wings.